What if I told you that nothing you've experienced so far was by chance? Every relationship that ended, every disappointment, every moment of uncertainty, it was all part of a bigger plan, a plan that God laid out to lead you to true love. The love you seek is not lost, nor is it the result of chance. It was written for you even before you were born. But in order to receive it, you need to understand the purpose behind everything you've experienced so far. How many times have you wondered why certain people have come in and out of your life? How many times have you felt like you were giving it your all, but it never seemed to be enough? None of it was in vain. Each experience was a preparation for what God has in store for you. If you're here now, listening to this message, it's not a coincidence. Your heart has been guided to this moment because you are closer than ever to living the promise God has for your love life. Today, you will understand how every detail of your journey was part of a perfect plan and how to prepare yourself to receive this love without fear or doubt. God has already written your story. Now, the choice to live it in faith is in your hands. Comment below, have you ever felt that God is preparing something special for your love life? I want to hear about your experience. And if this message has touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There are many more revelations waiting for you. Let's go on this journey together. If you look back, you'll realize that every moment of your love life was carefully interwoven. Nothing happened without purpose. Every person who has passed through your life, every relationship that has ended, every smile and every tear has been part of a bigger plan, a divine design that you may not yet have been able to fully see. Perhaps you've experienced moments of uncertainty, wondering if there really is someone ready for you. On some lonely nights, you may have felt lost, without direction, without understanding why certain stories ended. But God never lost control. He always knew exactly what He was doing. From the very first day of your existence, God had already written your story. He knew who needed to come into your life to teach you important lessons, and who needed to leave to make room for something greater. Sometimes the purpose of a relationship is not to last forever, but to prepare you for something that is yet to come. Think of all the experiences you've had, that love that seemed perfect but didn't work out, those promises that were broken, the moment when your heart was hurt and you wondered if you would ever trust again. All of this was part of your growth process. Every disappointment you've faced has shaped the person you are today. Each loss, each pain, each goodbye was an essential piece in the puzzle of your destiny. Often, God removes us from something we want, not to punish us, but to protect us. What seemed like a painful ending was actually a redirection, a detour that prevented you from remaining stuck in something that wasn't part of your greater purpose. If you still have doubts about this, do a simple exercise. Look at everything you've been through. See the invisible connections between the events in your life. People who came in at the right time, others who left just when they needed to leave. There's a logic behind everything. God has been working silently, putting each piece in the right place. Now, what you need to understand is that nothing has been in vain. No experience was wasted. All your experiences of love were part of a preparation, so that when true love arrived, you would be ready to recognize it and receive it in the way it deserves. The question you should ask yourself is not, why did all this happen to me? But rather, how did each experience prepare me for what is to come? God never acts without purpose. He always has a bigger plan than we can see. And most importantly, He has already chosen someone special for you. In the next few steps, you will understand how each difficult moment was part of your preparation, and how finally, the love that God has in store for you is closer than ever. How much pain have you been through? How many times has your heart been broken, and you felt you couldn't move on? Perhaps you've wondered why God has allowed you to face so many disappointments and challenges in love. But today you're going to understand something very important. Every wound you've carried has been part of the preparation for the true love that is to come. Many people believe that emotional suffering is a punishment, but it's actually a process of strengthening. Just as gold is purified in fire and diamond is formed under pressure, your soul has been shaped by the experiences you have lived through. Every challenge, every loss, and every disappointment were not obstacles, but tools to strengthen you and prepare you to receive a love that is truly worthwhile. There were times when you thought all was lost, moments when the goodbyes hurt more than you could bear. But God was there, watching, caring, guiding you along a path that may have seemed confusing, but which had a clear destination. God never wastes pain. If He allowed you to go through all this, it was because He knew that each experience would help shape your character, your worldview, and above all, your faith. And now you are stronger. you've grown. What once seemed unbearable has become part of your story, a scar that proves you survived. You are no longer the same person you were in the past. The pain hasn't destroyed you. On the contrary, it has made you evolve. If you had received true love before the right time, you might not have been ready to appreciate it. Perhaps you would have made the same mistakes or allowed the same insecurities to sabotage something that was supposed to be a blessing. But now, after everything you've lived through, you know exactly what you deserve, and you won't accept less than what God has in store for you. Don't see the wounds of the past as ugly scars, but as the marks of a warrior, proof that you have overcome and are ready for something much greater. The love that God has prepared for you is not fleeting, it's not fragile, it's not just based on superficial emotions. It is solid, transformative, and will arrive at the right time. And that time is closer than you think. Have you ever wondered if there really is a love that brings peace, that isn't marked by uncertainty, and that doesn't make you doubt your worth? Perhaps, until now, your experiences have only shown you unstable loves, relationships that began with intensity, but ended in frustration. But there's something you need to understand. The love that God has in store for you is not like the others you've experienced. This love will not be built on fleeting illusions or momentary emotions. It will have a clear purpose. It will be a love that builds you up, strengthens you, and propels you towards something greater. It won't be a love of constant doubts, emotional games, or fear of abandonment. On the contrary, it will be a love that brings security, understanding, and growth. Relationships that arrive without purpose usually end up leaving a void. They come into your life, consume your energy, and when they leave only traces of confusion and disappointment. But the love that God has prepared for you will not be a distraction. It will be a direction. This person will be a blessing in your life, not a burden. When love comes from God, it doesn't cause torment. It doesn't generate anxiety. It doesn't make you wonder all the time if you're on the right track. It flows naturally, bringing a quiet certainty to your heart. Perhaps you've already settled for loves that only temporarily filled a void, but never really added anything meaningful to your life. But now, God is telling you that the time has come to experience something completely different. This love will be built on firm foundations. It won't be a relationship that weakens your faith or diverts you from your purpose. On the contrary, it will be a love that brings you even closer to God, strengthens your spiritual journey, and has a positive impact not only on you, but also on those around you. But for this to happen, you need to be ready. Many people miss out on the opportunity to experience true love because they are still stuck in the past, afraid to open up to something new. The love that God has in store for you requires surrender, trust, and a heart willing to grow. In the next steps, you'll understand how purposeful relationships are the key to lasting love, and how God uses these connections to fulfill plans much bigger than just individual happiness. True love doesn't come to fill a void, but to align you with your purpose. When God brings two people together, He doesn't do it just so that they can have company or happy times, but so that this union can bring growth, transformation, and impact to both of their lives. Perhaps up until now, you have experienced relationships that seemed promising, but which, in the end, only led you astray. Many loves come as distractions, test your patience, your faith, and even make you question your own worth. But the love that God has prepared for you will not be a distraction. It will be a direction. The connections that come from God are different. They don't generate confusion, fear, or anxiety. They bring clarity. Love with purpose doesn't require you to change who you are in order to be accepted, nor does it make you feel insecure or insufficient. On the contrary, it helps you to grow, to become a better version of yourself. This union won't just be sustained by fleeting emotions. It will be based on faith, trust, and building something that goes beyond the two of you. It will be a relationship that strengthens your spiritual journey and reflects God's love in your life. And do you know what the greatest sign is that this love is real? It doesn't limit your dreams, it doesn't trap you in a cycle of pain and indecision, but encourages you to achieve what God has planned for you. Often people get into relationships that take them away from their mission, their identity, and even God's presence. But a love with purpose is one that strengthens your faith, propels you towards what really matters, and makes you a better person. If you've been in relationships that have brought you more doubts than certainties, know that this doesn't define what God has for your life. He has already prepared a love that will bring peace to your heart, without the need for emotional games or fear of the future. But for this love to reach you, your heart must be prepared. In the next few steps, you will understand how to prepare yourself to receive this love in the right way, without carrying the pain of the past and without letting doubt stop you from living what God has already planned. The love that God has in store for you is no ordinary love. It is solid, true, and transformative. But in order to receive it, your heart must be ready. Often, people want to experience a blessed relationship, but they still carry fears, traumas, and beliefs that prevent them from seeing and accepting this blessing when it comes. Preparing for divine love doesn't begin when that person appears in your life. It starts now, inside you. Before God unites you with someone special, He wants you to become the best version of yourself. This means that you first need to let go of the past. How many times have you found yourself reliving stories that are already over? How many times have you looked back and felt that you were still stuck in memories that only bring pain? God cannot deliver something new to a heart that is still carrying old weights. It's time to let go. The second step is to heal your view of love. Perhaps you have believed that relationships are always complicated, that love hurts, or that there is no one truly ready for you. But God doesn't work in chaos. He brings order. He brings purpose. The love that comes from Him doesn't destroy, it builds. Furthermore, it is essential to strengthen your identity. No relationship can fill what only God can heal. If you enter a relationship looking to be completed, there is a great risk of losing yourself in the process. But when you already know who you are, when you understand your value and walk with confidence in God's purpose for your life, the love that arrives only complements that journey. Another fundamental part of this preparation is to keep your faith active. If God has already promised you a blessed love, then your only responsibility is to trust and prepare. Anxiety doesn't speed up God's timing, and doubt only creates barriers. Divine love arrives at the right time, in the right way, and with no need to rush. And finally, be open to recognizing this person when they arrive. God is already working behind the scenes. While you are getting stronger, He is shaping the other person. The meeting will be inevitable, and when it happens, you'll know. If there's one thing that challenges the human heart, it's waiting. When it comes to love, anxiety can become a burden, making you ask yourself over and over again, when will it be my turn? But there is something essential that you need to understand. God's time is not moved by human impatience, but by divine purpose. Perhaps you've looked around you and seen other people finding their partners, building families, living love stories, and in the silence of your heart, you've asked yourself, why hasn't it happened to me yet? This question is natural, but it cannot be greater than your trust in God's plan. Waiting is not a punishment or a rejection. It's a preparation. If God hasn't brought that person into your life yet, it's because He knows the exact moment when everything will be aligned. He doesn't just want you to find love, He wants you to find the right love, the one that will bring growth, that will complement your journey, and that will be a reflection of His purpose in your life. And in this time of waiting, God is at work. While you are being strengthened, that person is also being shaped. What is yours will not be late and will not be taken by someone else. What comes from God is sealed, and when the time comes, no obstacle will stand in the way. Often, in our desire to speed up the process, we end up accepting loves that aren't for us, relationships that lead us astray, that hurt, that make us lose our essence. But the love that God has for your life won't bring confusion, won't generate doubt, won't make you feel inadequate. If you want to experience divine love, you need to learn to trust. God has already prepared everything. Your only task now is to remain firm in your faith, strengthen your identity, and continue living your mission, knowing that when the time is right, this love will come. After so much waiting, how do you know when the time has finally come to experience this love? How do you recognize that God is at work and that His promise is being fulfilled? The truth is that before true love manifests itself on the outside, it is already beginning to reveal itself within you. The first signs that this love is near are not in the arrival of someone, but in the transformation of your heart. The first big sign is inner peace. Before, love might have seemed like something distant, a dream that generated anxiety. But when the right time approaches, your heart begins to feel an inexplicable peace. You stop chasing it, stop questioning it all the time, and simply trust it. Another sign is emotional clarity. What once seemed confusing now makes sense. You realize that everything you've lived through was necessary. The pain, the losses, the new beginnings, each part of your story fits together like a puzzle, and you understand that you were prepared for something greater. In addition, there are synchronicities and confirmations. God speaks in different ways, and when his promise is about to manifest, he sends signs. It could be a word you hear, a verse that touches your heart, a strong feeling that something is about to change. And finally, the opportunities start lining up. You realize that your life is moving, that doors are opening, that new connections are emerging. And without having to force anything, you feel that God is setting the perfect stage for this encounter. The love that God has for your life will not arrive with confusion or doubt. It will be clear, firm, and full of purpose. But to recognize it, you need to be attentive to the signs. Now, yes, we're ready for the conclusion. Let's understand how God's time is being fulfilled and how this love will finally manifest itself in your life. Now that you have understood the purpose behind each experience, the lessons that have shaped your heart, and the preparation needed to receive the love that God has in store for you, there is something essential that needs to be said. God's timing never fails. Perhaps you've waited a long time. You may have gone through times when you doubted whether this love really existed, but that was all part of the process. God is never late. He acts with precision, preparing every detail so that when this love enters your life, it stays and fulfills the purpose for which it was designed. What once seemed like an uncertain path now begins to make sense. The losses you suffered were not defeats, but deliverances. The pains you faced were not punishments, but opportunities to grow. Every weight, every tear, every silent prayer has been recorded and is now part of the construction of what is to come. Divine love doesn't arrive before the right time. It doesn't appear when we are still unprepared, full of doubts and fears. It arrives when our hearts finally understand that true love is not a game, not a distraction, but a sacred commitment. If you've been wondering why you had to wait so long, the answer is simple: because God wanted you to be ready. He wanted your faith to be firm, your emotions to be balanced, and you to know exactly the value of a love that comes from Him. And now you're about to see it all come together. What once seemed distant will begin to manifest itself. God's timing doesn't follow the human clock, but when He acts, everything happens so precisely that there is no doubt that He has been guiding you every step of the way. The question that remains is, are you ready to experience this love? Are you willing to open your heart, to trust, and to allow God to fulfill the promise He has already written for your life? If this message has touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There are many more revelations waiting for you. And share in the comments, do you feel that God has prepared something special for your love life? How has He been shaping your heart for this moment? I want to hear your story. The wait is coming to an end. God's time is being fulfilled. And when that love arrives, you'll understand that every moment of waiting was worth it. See you in the next video.